In all my years of being a One Piece fan, I really haven't come across any series that reminds me of One Piece. I've seen some similarities between Naruto and Black Clover, and even Bleach and Jujutsu Kaisen. And I'm not talking about just the characters or abilities, we're talking about the actual story. So with that being said, let's talk about this new series called Galaxias.
Wealth, fame, power. Yuri Holst's the world's greatest adventurer attained everything this world had to offer, and his dying words drove countless.
Bro, I am still alive.
Oh shit, apologies, sir. Yuri Holst's climbed the tallest peak, translated the ancient texts, and destroyed all the demons, so everyone else gave up. Because there was no treasure.
Yep, you heard that right. Galaxias has its own Gold Roger, but instead of leaving this big treasure, giving a massive speech and being executed, he's still alive, and there is no treasure, and he conquered everything. So instead of heading out to sea, everybody else just gave up. So you're probably asking yourself, then what the hell is the main character searching for? Because the main thing in One Piece is Luffy finding the One Piece. Well, let's get into that, because I ain't complaining. I love more One Piece. So we begin our story in this little island called Lanakia, where this girl named Geo is constantly trying to escape the island. She hates living here and she wants to set out on a journey. But that's when her father falls from the sky and smacks her with the paralysis needle. So her dad is the mayor and also a dragon, specifically a centipede dragon. I imagine that's going to play somewhat into the story later on, where we see like all these different types of dragons. But yeah, this design is pretty badass. Bro looks like a homeless person from Tokyo Ghoul. Anyway, Geo wants to go on this grand adventure like Yuri Holtz, the Gold Roger dude, and her father's like, nah, that's stupid. He already defeated the demons and has completed all the adventures. So live here, have kids here, die here. Anyway, she ends up going to the edge of town where she begins fishing, and she actually ends up reeling in the main character from the ocean. So now this is where it gets a little bit interesting, because our main character is kind of weird. He's not your usual MC. So this guy has no memories of his life at all. His brain is completely wiped. There really is nothing in that brain of his, to the point where he carries around a notebook and writes down new things that he's learned every single day. On day 47, he learned how to read. The world is so interesting. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say this. How he ended up in the water is that he didn't know he had to pay when he got on a boat, so they just threw him off the boat. Like, he wasn't aware that you had to pay for things. I mean, that's pretty cool. Luffy and this guy both have something in common. They're both idiots. Anyway, as Geo's reading this book, she actually becomes quite jealous of the fact that this guy can just travel around the world freely, and she's stuck on this island. So the dude is like, you're an idiot and you should do what you want. And then she gives him the name Nade, which is from the book that she's holding. And that book is called Galaxias, which is the name of the manga. Nade is the hero of the book, and he's a man who's cursed by a witch and forgets his way home and travels around the world searching for his family. I mean, that's pretty dope. That's basically foreshadowing the actual story. I kind of like that. Now, here is where it gets pretty interesting. We got that shonen chapter 1 plot twist. So Nade and Geo end up going their separate ways, and Geo runs into her father in the woods. But surprise, surprise, he is heavily injured. He's got wood sticking out of his head. His rib cage is sticking out like he's bleeding. And the person who did that is a Dragon Knight from the government. This is giving like One Piece type of vibes where the Marines are always doing bad things. I like this. Now, the reason why the Dragon Knight has injured her father is because he's actually searching for Geo. And the reason why he's doing this is because Geo is actually the daughter of Yuri Holtz, the famous adventurer and the Gold Roger of the series. And Yuri Holtz is wanted as a suspect in the murder of the supreme leader, the Dragon King. So turns out the mayor isn't actually Geo's father, he's the friend of Yuri Holtz, and he was raising her on this island in secret under the government's nose. So now you're starting to see why I said this manga was similar to One Piece. Yuri Holtz, Gold Roger, they both gave up their children to their friends to raise them. You know, Gold Roger, it was Ace. Yuri Holtz is Geo Holtz. You know, it's very similar. So now it's getting pretty emotional. The Dragon Knight is just beating the hell out of the mayor, and he's telling her to run and never come back. But at the same time, his entire life he was telling her, no, don't leave the island, but it was for her own safety because she is also a wanted criminal because she's the offspring of Yuri Holtz. And the government, they're chasing down anybody that committed treason alongside their descendants. They're going crazy. Now, what's kind of crazy about this Dragon Knight is he's the first villain in the story. This is chapter 1, and he already has this OP ability. He can freely increase any matter he touches with his hands. Rocks, trees, even bones and teeth can be my weapons. Like, what? The ability to control people's teeth and bones, and then also be an earthbender at the same time, is just a little bit too OP for the first villain. I don't know about you guys. Anyway, at this point, the mayor is just getting his ass whooped. Yuri pulls out a gun, shoots, misses. There's like this intense battle going on. But then out of nowhere, Yuri pulls out this Denji tactic from Chainsaw Man and just kicks him in the balls super hard. But the Dragon Knight ain't gonna go down that easily, and he starts tweaking out and he's about to sucker punch her when Nade comes in clutch and blocks the punch. He has that cool, typical shonen protagonist moment. You know, he saves him and he says, "You're not the least bit boring." And that's a callback to like a couple pages ago where he said that she was boring for not wanting to venture off the island. And that's when it's revealed to us Nade is also part of the dragon folk. Just like the mayor and the Dragon Knight, he has a tail. And wow, that page just looks super dope, bro. Look at his long tail, no ditty. It looks cool as hell, bro. So Nade just charges at the dude, breaks through his wall, and punches him so bad, he's basically lights out, and he sends him flying up the mountain. So now that the Dragon Knight is easily beat up and gone, Nade asks Geo to join him on an adventure. Now that Yuri realizes, you know, this great adventurer she's always been looking up to is actually her father, she wants to see him too. And it turns out Nade also is searching for Yuri Holtz, but apparently it's for his own reasons. The mayor says something pretty interesting. He says he wanted to raise Yuri differently than her monstrous father, which could possibly imply that Yuri Holtz is maybe a villain. But that could possibly be just the mayor's impression of Yuri Holtz. But I would much prefer if Yuri Holtz is the villain, because the difference between One Piece and this is that Yuri Holtz is actually alive while Gold Roger is dead in the current timeline. But it would be dope to see Yuri Holtz be the villain and getting to fight him. Now, my only concern with this series is when it comes to dragons, I personally feel like they're only cool when there isn't too many of them. So the fact that the main villains, what it seems like, is the government in this series and that they have their own Dragon Knights, I really hope that isn't the only villains in the series. I want to see lots of other villains that aren't dragons, that have humans, that maybe have access to this power system as well. That would be dope. Or even another power type of system entirely. Also, I hope they don't add any other Dragon Knights into the main crew alongside Nade and Yuri, because in my opinion, dragons are best in series when they're special and when there's a small amount of them. But yeah, who would have thought that in 2024 we would be getting a dragon One Piece? Like, I love Fairy Tail growing up, I love One Piece, and now it's like a combination of both of them. We got Dragon One Piece. But anyways, I would love to hear what you guys think about this manga in the comment section. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.